Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to today's live reading of The Mating Chance by Brooke May, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Join me. Prologue. Cricket. Cricket, you don't need to check. Great. I resorted to talking to myself. Thankfully, not a single member of my family, other than Uncle Randy, is in hearing range, and he isn't going to say a word. There's no need to check again. Everything is perfectly fine, just like it was the last dozen or so times I've done so since getting here this morning. Nestled in the only available corner of this tiny one-room, one-bath trailer that serves as my office is the playpen I managed to get put up with ease. Huck is content as a tiny baby can possibly be, so I can get back to work. A lot of good it's done me. Since placing my cuddly little bundle down for his milk-induced nap, I've barely managed to get started on payroll. My gaze is constantly drifting, snapping in his direction with every little noise. I know full well that they are just the natural sounds of the forest outside this building, accompanied by distant buzzing saws and whatever Uncle Randy is currently working on. Mom never warned me about any of this, how absolutely debilitating being a first-time parent can be. Beck. The ease I found in meeting him and how quickly we fell in love is the way of mountain lion shifters once the call tugs on our nature, bringing a male to the homeland of the female's pride. Life was incredibly easy. Beck joined forces with my family, choosing to keep us here rather than his much smaller pride in the South, and has been by my side through all the ups and downs that have come over the past couple of years in our logging business. Just one more peek. The blanket Huck is swaddled in could have come up and covered his face. It's a rationalization I stick to as I push away from my desk with everything spread out or up on the computer for me to do payroll and make my way over to my slumbering baby. I'm mindful of every board that'll make too much noise and risk startling him. I have music playing, enough sounds that Huck should be able to sleep through anything. But we mountain lion shifters have a keen sense of hearing, even at his young age. A creaky board shouldn't make much of a difference. At the same time, it very well could. The sudden sound interrupting the piece could be just the thing to wake my newborn. With my hand clutched over my wildly beating heart, I peek over the side to find he's still as perfect as the last time. Still swaddled in a way both Beck and I discovered fits him best when we were trying to get him to sleep, his tiny round face already filling out with the amount he eats. Huck is perfect. The term "be still my heart" comes to mind as I move closer and gently brace myself against the side of the playpen. Right now, he basically floats with the attachment that keeps him higher until he's old enough to start pulling himself up. But by then, he'll likely be hanging out with Grandma more. Mom offered to take Huck while I worked for a few hours every day, but I couldn't bear being away from him, especially since I'm nursing. It's already difficult when I need groceries and leave him at home with Beck. It feels like a piece of me is missing every time. My perfect little angel cub. I want to reach down and gently glide the back of my fingers across his feather soft cheek, but I resist. He's been doing so well with naps, I don't want to disrupt the cycle we're steadily getting him on. He's much too small to determine which of us he'll resemble more, but I'm hoping it'll be Beck. They'll be adorable together if they looked alike. I love you so much. With my whispered words, I return to my desk and focus on getting this job done. The sounds outside the window not only carry on the wind down the hill from where the crew is working, but my heightened hearing is nothing to me after growing up with it being a constant. My family has run our logging company since my great-grandparents decided to try it to maintain and protect the land we've lived on for generations. The distant sound of trees crashing, saws buzzing, and the beeps of the crane lifting and lowering to retrieve logs are nothing but white noise to me. In fact, I don't even hear them the majority of the time. The music and steadily, barely audible rhythm of Huck's breathing and Uncle Randy's muttered curses are all I hear. I'm finally focusing, working away to get this done in time to hand out paychecks to every man who comes off the hill in a few hours when something that should only happen at the end of the day or at a lunch takes over the landscape. It goes deathly quiet, with the only shouts too far for me to figure out what is being said. No buzzing saws, no beeps of the crane, just nothing. Frowning, I take a quick glance at the time on my computer before going back to another employee's pay. After minutes pass with near complete silence, Up on the hill, I find myself reaching for the radio, the most effective way to get a hold of anyone up there, and call my dad, who runs the crane. Dad, do you have a copy? I click off and dart a glance over to the playpen. No answer. Dad, are you there? We forgo all forms of radio jargon for the most part, since this one is just from me to him. Dad? There's still no response. Cold trepidation begins to roll down my spine as I stand and turn to the window to look out. Of course, I can't see anything other than Uncle Randy, pointed in the same direction and wiping his hands. I'm just pressing the button to call for him again when another radio goes off and my eldest brother, Pat's voice comes through it frantically. Crick, call 911. With the shout interrupting the room's peace, Huck begins to stir, but I can't bother with him just yet. I drop one radio and nearly the other in my rush to reply. Pat, what's going on? Call 911, he repeats. A tree fell on Beck. He's shouting at me. The others? I have no clue other than my dread grows tenfold at the news. On it, I stammer, not believing what he just told me. Placing the radio down, I dive for the desk phone, just as Huck begins to fuss. Hang on, baby, I coo over him. My fingers shake as I place the call, and as quickly as I can, I relay the message to get an ambulance here as soon as possible. I'm placing the phone back on the cradle, reaching for the right radio when Pat's voice comes back through. Cricket, there's static, and just like when you're waiting to hear news, whether it be good or bad, your gut clenches. I'm so sorry, sis. My knees connect with the worn floor as a wail rips through me, matching that of my infant son as my entire world shifts. Chapter 1, Boone. You can't kill family. You can't strangle family, even if the member's being insane. Chanting isn't going to do me any good, not this time, with likely the most frustrating, insane woman I've ever met and have the misfortune of being related to. Why can't she be like the rest of us, perfectly sane? I don't have time for this, Sheridan. My groan gives way to a full-blown growl, rumbling up to show my mountain lion side just a little. It doesn't faze her in the least. I pull my hand away from where I was pinching the bridge of my nose to stave off the headache I know will come with her invasion. I need to get to work. She huffs and crosses those arms. I'm relieved aren't swinging at me. Lane and Afton are nowhere to be found, and Trigger is useless. You're the only one who can help me with this. Her hands fly out. I hate to admit it, but I flinch away from the bikini brawler. Only they've fastened to her bare hips as she glares up at me. How disturbing is it that I'm used to seeing my curvy female cousin in next to nothing? From the moment it's considered warm enough outside, Sheridan McKenzie gives up on jeans and crop tops with hoodies and winter jackets she's forced to wear every year and is back in her various bikinis and boots. She'll wear a pair of Daisy Duke shorts on the rare occasion, but that almost never happens. Today, she's sporting a halter-top bikini with mountains decorating it and bottoms that almost pass as shorts. What makes the outfit the wildest is her hair in what Vixie, another cousin, has told me is called warrior braids and hiking boots. Breathe in and out, Boone. Sheridan, I need to get to work. I don't have time to look over whatever the hell you've put one of your four-wheelers through today. Crossing my arms, I get as defensive as she is. It's her constant state, even with her clients. If it's about a will she wants to have with me, then I'll give her one and walk away victorious. Just take a listen to it, please. There's no pleading. Sheridan doesn't stoop to those levels. For her, it's always a demand. No. Come on, Boone. It's not like you'll be late for work from just listening to the engine. She turns to the four-wheeler in question. I heard it sputter all the way down this road from one of the main roads in our small mountain home of Long Claw, which is made up entirely of various branches of our family. Each of us is a mountain lion shifter. No, I repeat myself with more emphasis. I know exactly what will happen. I'll listen to it, try to explain what's wrong with it. Then you'll be all confused, meaning I'll have to step in and do it. It'll lead me to being late for work. My voice has risen the more in depth I get into this conversation with a woman who doesn't like to take no for an answer. I'm not doing It. She blinked slowly, those blue eyes rimmed with gold every mountain lion shifter in the world has looking up at me completely unfazed. Just take a quick listen. She's been blocking the way to my truck since pulling up. Knowing my cousin as well as I do, I knew trying to get past her would be a massive mistake. She might not look like much, but she's the truest lioness since Meemaw had her heyday. It's terrifying. The moment her back is to me, I take the opportunity she was so negligent to give me. My long legs beat feet over to my truck. I'm thankful I already had my lunch packed. It's only a few heart-pounding seconds from making my move. My breaths are shallow as I slam and lock the door at the same moment I crank the engine of my 91 Dodge. I'm pulling out with moves Vin Diesel would likely be proud of, leaving my cousin in the dust. She stands, yelling at me with a wave of her fist right next to my house. The saying, "Not today, Satan," comes to mind, but with Sheridan instead as I drive off, not bothering to slow down. My dad is already out delivering the mail and gives me a quick wave when I come ripping onto the main road that leads directly to town from here. My parents' house isn't too far from mine. While we've all begun to spread out, we tend to stay close to where we were raised. Only my Aunt River, Sheridan's mom, and her children live the furthest from town. With the exception of one of Sheridan's older sisters, Laramie, who now lives in town along with her mate, the previously mentioned Trigger. With Laramie and Cheyenne, the oldest of Aunt River's 5 kids, now made it, it's only a matter of time before the call comes to the next one. There comes a time in each mountain lion shifter's life when nature will completely control them and guide them to their one true mate. For females, it means either remaining in their home pride or returning to it. For males, it's venturing out to find her. Either they will settle in her home or return to his. It's almost unheard of to hear of a mated couple moving somewhere on their own. I can't imagine who would possibly be next, including myself, my brothers Bridger and Kit, and my cousins Vixie, Afton, and Sheridan are all of the right age for that call to come. A shiver rattles down my back at the thought of someone out there destined to be mated to the wild Hellcat Sheridan. I pray the man is tough as nails and can handle the wildness the rest of us tolerate and tend to overlook rather than dealing with it head on. She's always been a stubborn little shit. By the time I reach the outskirts of the part of Long Claw that the rest of the world sees as they make their way over the mountain to Yellowstone or destinations beyond, I'm happy I don't have to slow and drive through. Rather, I stick to the main road and fly past the Long Claw market until I'm forced to stop at the highway. I have to wait for a tour bus to pass. I'm nervous as hell and keep glancing at my mirrors to make sure Sheridan and her clunky four-wheeler aren't trying to come after me. She isn't. Taking off, I had the hour-long drive to where I'll be logging clear on the other side of the mountain for the day. Despite my morning being off to a shitty start with my batshit crazy cousin bothering me, a smile kicks up at the corner of my mouth. A lot of people probably couldn't stand living in a small town in the middle of the mountains, surrounded by more family than they could likely name, but I love it. Long Claw is my home. Only my mating call would ever have a chance of changing that.